Hey, welcome to Roleplay Cafe. It's Dale here for day 12 of RPG a Day 2025. The prompt being path, and I'm gonna keep it. On the straight and narrow for this one. Um, and in classical, old school fantasy motif of play, which when you're traveling, let's say from hamlet to hamlet, town to town, or village, or whatever whatever the case is. Generally back in the day, stopping areas were typically 5-6 miles. It was a day's travel uh, as far as walk to get to the next way station, as it were, and whatever that comprised. Uh, how many people, whether it's just a stopover or a little village or a hamlet, like I said. Um, and a lot of times, especially if there's wooded areas, which adds so much to traditional fantasy uh, feeling. Going into the dark wood, or here be monsters or whatnot. You have to look at Robin Hood. The path is a perfect way because uh, it's a corridor of travel where it's a thoroughfare where you can interrupt travel, and as Robin Hood did, uh, free people of their coin, cut their purse strings, as it were. So the highwaymen and banditry could happen. King's Highway, maybe areas where there's guards stationed, or where there at least you can have unmolested travel. More so than not, um, but that path is important. Even if it's a darkened path somewhere, it's still safer than venturing off in the wood, and it's less inhibitive. You can't ride a horse through a wood line, so to speak, like that. Where there's brambles or thickets or whatnot, it's going to be incredibly hard. And trees usually aren't so sparse that they're spaced far away where you can get up to any speed. Um, and things could be behind a tree. Chester the Molester, for example. But uh, you it would behoove most travelers to stay on the path, but there is a danger to that path, and therefore lies the excitement. I think early D&D, when you're in the dungeon and that is quartered off to where you have to stay along a path, whatever path, and you can't venture off. But like I say, it even follows you out into the overland where you're traveling, especially through wooded areas, or maybe narrow paths and ravines and mountainsides or whatnot. Is generally a place where you could, you know, travel through or head someone off at uh, the pass, or what have you. Um, Intersection. There's signposts. There's uh, markers and guides to your next destination on the path. So paths, whether they're there already or whether you as a party cut your own path of adventure through a darkened wood where there is no path, eventually, uh, if you do that, there will be ones that follow the path that you cut. So eventually, paths will become manifest. So, um, anyway, we will see y'all tomorrow